Good morning, Antoinette.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. So you have this book which explains the whole everything that happened, but sort of give for people who don't remember this story, sort of give us a background of what happened that day at this school.
Well, I'm actually in the school, and the principal comes and asks me if I can relieve the secretary for lunch. And so I'm sitting there waiting to go relieve her, and I get this devastating phone call to tell me that I am going to lose my car if I don't come up with $14,000.
Oh my God! So you're in the office. And by the way, were you a teacher? What's your role at the school?
I'm the actual bookkeeper, so I'm in the office getting paperwork done, paying some bills, and the phone rings.
Okay.
And that's who's on the other line.
And they're telling you,
lose my car.
They're telling you, hey, you're behind on your payments or whatever, and we're gonna repossess your car unless you give us $14,000 or whatever.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And so I'm sitting there bawling out, and so now I'm late to relieve the secretary, and she calls me to ask me where I'm at. So as we all do, I get up, try to put my face on, my mask on, and try to make sure that everything is okay. Opens the door, and the teacher asks me, can I help her? So I'm like, okay, let's go to the front office. I can relieve the secretary. So we go there, and we're now sitting there, me helping her with her insurance. And in comes Michael Hill, all dressed in black with the AK-47, already ready, armed, ready to steal, kill, and destroy.
And what goes through your mind at that point? I mean, when you see this, do you think this is a prank at first? Do you know immediately that this guy means business, or what goes through your mind?
Well, at first I'm saying, okay, God, this is a joke. You know, I just got this devastating phone call, and then this man standing here with an AK-47. And mind you, I hadn't seen guns before that time, so I didn't know if the gun was for real. I didn't know if the gun was for play or just what. So I'm like, okay, God, this is a joke.
You're thinking, my God, they were serious about repossessing my car. Jeez, I would have just turned it over. But
So I'm now sitting there like, okay, God, what do I do? You know, now I know the seriousness of it. When he opens his mouth to say to me that everyone is going to die today, including me.
Wow. And at that time, do you freeze? Do you try and figure out how you can run, or what do you do?
No, what I'm doing is sitting there behind the table at the desk, and he's now saying to the teacher to go and let everybody know that he's in the building, that he's, that what he's going to be, what's going on. And so she looks at me, I look at her, and she's like, okay, do I go? And I'm like, yep, go do what he tells you to do. So now we're sitting there, and now in comes the cafeteria manager. He comes in with his smooth, cool walk, and he now does not move as fast as Michael Hill desires for him to move. Michael Hill gets agitated. Now he starts shooting his first shot in the office with us. The bullet now ricochets and hits no one. What a God.
So you, at this point, your heart is racing. Some people react to situations differently. Some people are cool under pressure. Some people just get hysterical. You were actually cool under pressure, it sounds like.
I was cool on the outside, screaming on the inside.
Yeah.
Because I was literally, if you ain't never had a conversation with God, you're talking now.
Right, yeah.
You're doing some speed talking. Okay, God, what am I going to do? How am I going to say this? I now see this young man agitated. I've now seen him do a bullet. Okay, what do I do? He's now telling me to call 911, call the TV newscast. So I know now the seriousness of the situation, because now he's asking for demands. I've now seen him unstable in all his ways, and he's now shot a bullet in front of me.
And so he tells you to call 911, and he tells you to call the news. Is this guy, this guy Michael Hill? Is he? How old was he? What did he look like? Black guy, white guy? Who was he?
He's a 20-year-old young man, Caucasian guy.
Okay, and so he tells you to call 911 and the TV news. What do you do at that point?
I do his demands and do what he tells me to do. The only thing he did tell me to do was hang up with the 911 operator. I did not hang up with her. I put her on hold to call the news station. Then he tells me to hang up the phone. And now what I do is I actually take the phone off the hook on the other side of the counter, take the 911 operator off of hold so that she can have eyes and ears into the building to know what's going on.
Right. All right. So that was a smart move. So when you called 911, and I remember I heard they released the 911 at the time. I haven't heard it for quite some time, but you were just speaking almost normally.
Yes, that was not me. I promise you, I was terrified. I mean, I had to go back, because everybody kept saying, you were so calm, you were so calm. I actually went back to listen to the tape and didn't even recognize myself. Didn't even know that was me. I can't even tell you exactly everything that I said on that tape, because I knew that it was just preparing me for that moment.
So you did that. You had the mindset that you were able to put them or take 911 off of hold so that they can continue listening. You tell them the situation of what's happening there and what this guy is demanding, that he's already shot he's fired some shots. At that point, do you have a strategy to try to get out of this situation, or to negotiate with this guy, or to talk this guy down, or does it present itself for you to start talking to this guy?
Well, no, I did not have a strategy or anything. See, I didn't have prior training to all that. This was something that I'm actually having a conversation with God. What do I do? What do I say? How do I say it? And I'm now trying to actually make sure that I'm speaking with him. Because, see, remember, I knew his pain. I knew his pain because that pain I felt when I was a little girl. I actually felt that pain when my ex-husband left me, so I knew the pain. So I was just like anybody else. I was a normal person going into the school, nothing unusual about me. That was one reason why I wanted to write my book, for people to be able to see. I was no superhero. God just so happened to call my name that day and prepared me for that day. It was nothing special about me. I didn't do no special prayer. God heard this fine tune, and I was tuned into that station. None of that. I had no training prior to that.
So how did you start? Did he start talking to you, or did you start talking to him in order to try to get him to give himself up? How did this come about?
Well, he was actually continuing to give me demands. He's now saying to me he's going to commit suicide and kill everybody. And I'm saying to him, oh, we're not doing that today. There's nobody going to die on my watch today. We're not going to do that. We're not doing that.
That's pretty ballsy, because I would think that at that point when you say, hey, we're not, no one's going to die on my watch, I'd be worried that the guy might go, oh, yeah, boom, and just shoot you right there,
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is that when you have the perfect place and the perfect person in place, see, that wasn't me. See, that was God being able to direct me on what to say. So I knew that young man's pain. See, I knew that pain because I had been there myself. When my ex-husband had left me after 33 years for another woman, the man that I had been with since I was 13 years old, I knew the pain. See, I look outside the young man, the AK-47, and him dressed all in black. At the end of the day, there was a young man sitting there, 20 years old, in pain, needing someone to be an angel and rescue him that day.
So what do you do? So you say, all right, not on my watch. Do you strike up a conversation with him, or how do you proceed?
I'm now talking to allow him to know what my struggles were and what I had been going through. He never communicated with me. Even when I was talking, he never said, oh, okay, there was no conversation. There was just him giving me demands and me just now talking to him, hoping that in some way in the conversation that he's going to leave, that he's going to hear me.
So you're probably telling him, you're telling him about your husband leaving. I'm assuming you're probably telling him, I just got off the phone. They want $14,000 for my car. You're telling him things that you've gone through to sort of try to relate to him, or so that he knows that you can relate to him.
Correct.
And through this time, he's not talking back with you. He's just looking at you and listening.
No, he's actually going back and forth outside. He's actually now spraying bullets everywhere, shooting in the air, shooting at police. He's now coming back inside, pacing the floor, uneasy and unstable. He's now sitting there in the chair right beside me, feet away from me, loading up magazines, emptying his book bag with all the bullets and everything in it, loading it in front of me to go back outside to start shooting again.
Wow.
So as I'm talking, it's just chaos in the room. He's just going back and forth, unstable.
Did you at any point, Antoinette Tuff is on with us. She has a book out. It's called Prepared for a Purpose. Talks about all of this. Did you at any point, and maybe because you're a woman, it didn't even cross your mind. If it was a man, it might have been different. But did you think to yourself, did you look around and say, here, let me see if there's something I can grab, and next time he comes in, I'll try and whack this guy in the head and take the gun or anything like that? Did that enter your mind at any point?
No. That didn't enter me at all. Because remember that he's moving and pacing. He's nowhere near me, close enough to me for me to do that.
Yeah, okay.
And I've already seen him agitated. So I wasn't getting ready to do anything that was going to agitate him more for me to miss him. And then we get to shoot him up cowboy and Indians.
Right.
So I ain't had no gun.
He's shot at the police who are outside. They've now come to the place. He's shot up various things in the school and whatnot. What eventually led to you getting through to him, and what happened, and how did you connect with him in order to end this situation?
Well, what happens is I'm just sitting there talking to him, hoping that he's hearing something that I'm saying. And then he now just makes a decision out of nowhere. Didn't say anything, I'm going to give up. He's now gone through his suicide moment. He's going to kill himself. Now he goes over, as I'm talking to him, to tell him my story. He puts the weapon on the counter, feet away from me. He puts the bullets on the counter, the book bag and everything that he came into the school with, lay on the floor, prostrate before the Lord with his hands behind his back, and allow the police officers to come and get him.
Oh, wow. And did he say anything to you?
No, never said anything to me. Nothing but gave me demands the whole time. Never said thank you, never said I'm listening, I hear you, none of that. No kind of conversation, only demands of what he wanted me to do.
So he did not kill anyone that day?
No, there was no fatalities. There was no one injured or anything. Even as he was shooting outside, there's elderly people and everybody around that area and homes around there, and that one person was injured or killed that day. What a God.
Now that you have had more than a year to reflect upon this, what's your feeling towards this guy? I mean, obviously someone comes in and puts you in a situation like that. You don't like the guy, but do you have sympathy for this guy because he was mentally ill? Or, what's your feeling towards this guy today?
Well, the thing about it is I didn't know God was going to bring me in front of an AK-47 that day. And I don't know what God is going to do with me when it comes to me and Michael Hill. I know we crossed paths for a reason because God didn't do anything without a reason. And so I don't have any ill feelings against him or anything like that. I want the best for him just like anyone else. Because at the end of the day, he's someone's son. He's going to be someone's father, and he's going to be a man one day. And in spite of all that he did, good and bad, it doesn't make a difference because God loves us all in spite of. So I don't have any ill feelings against him at all.
Do you now, when you go to work or just throughout your everyday, are you looking around extra super vigilant? Are you just, I would think when you go through something like that, you would be shaken up and always on guard.
Well, you are. You don't go casually like you used to. But the thing about it is that God is not an author of any fear. And so you can't live your life in fear every day. And so now I make sure that I get up in the morning, as I always done, and say, God, whose life are we going to change today and whose soul are we going to save? So for me, I can't go back to stay in that moment. I got to now focus on the next because I don't know what God needs and who he needs to use me for. Your
husband, you said, left you after 33 years. He left you for another woman. How long before this incident took place with this shooter? How long before that did your husband leave you? Was it, a week, a month, a year, or how soon?
He had just left a few months before that.
How'd you find out that your husband was leaving? Did he just come to you and say, I'm leaving you for another woman, or what did he say?
Yeah, he said he had another woman and that he was, leaving the home and leaving the marriage.
Were you shocked by that? Did you know that he had another woman? Did you know that he was cheating on you, or were you just blindsided?
Blindsided all the way. This is a man that we were still going out to hold hands together. We were still going out to dinner together.
Wow.
We had just celebrated our anniversary together. So I did not see it coming at all. This is a man that I had just nurtured back to health because he was sick. So I just did not see it. It was blindside all the way. That's why I could understand Michael Hill's pain. I knew that pain. I was in the same suicide moments he was in.
That's amazing that, most of the time when someone leaves you after that long, you would think that you would see the signs, or he's become distant, or you guys aren't going out holding hands, going to dinner, that kind of stuff. But it wasn't like that at all. And then he just comes to you. Now, when he says that, when your husband says that to you after 33 years of marriage, what did you say back to him? Did you yell? Did you scream, throw things at him, or cry? I mean, what do you do?
Overwhelming, crying, doesn't believe it, and now trying to figure out what do I do for my husband not to walk out the door. Because remember, this is the man that validated me. This is a man that I've been with since I was 13 years old. Mm-hmm. So that's all I know.
Right.
How do you live and survive when the very person that you thought you would live together, marry, die together, and go to heaven with, and no longer is that person right beside you?
So after this incident took place, you're, of course, all over the news and things like that. You've now written a book called Prepared for a Purpose. Did he contact you? Have you been in contact with this ex-husband of yours? What did he have to say about all of this?
Well, people seem to see things differently. We communicate for our children, and that's it.
Yeah.
He's gone on with his life, and so I'll allow him to do that. It's a healing process for me, and it's something that, unfortunately, you can't put it in the microwave and it's over with, those feelings and everything that you have for someone in a minute. So it's a process.
Well, it's a great story. The book is called Prepared for a Purpose. Antoinette Tuff, and wow, things could have really turned out ugly. It could have gone the other way, and luckily you are here to talk about it today. But just as easily, you could have been shot and killed, and that would have been it. And you never expect that when you walk into work that day, that something like that is going to happen. Antoinette, the book is good, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And good luck with this book, Antoinette. I appreciate you coming on today.
Oh, you're welcome, and you all have a great day today.
Thank you very much, Antoinette Tuff.